Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to Deus Ex. You may notice we are back in a certain place again. That is because the crazy cat lady has something to say.
I didn't know. How could I know?
Now that the Greasels are dead.
I took care of the Greasels.
Oh?
Nothing can bring back their victims, but rest assured, the threat is gone.
Hurrah, my kitties! Now they can go out to play and not get eaten. And can you believe the guys with the rocket tubes were afraid?
Rockets?
Oh yes, the soldiers that use building number 14, you know, across from the catacombs, the old entrance. Afraid of Greasels.
Bravery is not a function of firepower.
Hey, 200 skill points just for that.
Green crazy Greasels. Ah! Nobody else cared about my little kitties. You're beautiful. A beautiful person. Oh, I'm so happy.
Although now that I think about it, what do I even have to spend skill points on at this point? I mean, I've got pretty much everything where I want it to be. But then again, I have been using the Gep gun a lot, so I might as well run faster while I've got that out. Alright, now, back to the catacombs. It's just an extremely long walk down, and here we are. Aren't you glad you didn't have to wait through all of that? Well, more to the point, we've actually got a map of the place. This is where we're starting, and we've got quite a long, winding journey to get to the sewer tunnels and maybe check out these 3 bunkers. We also had that bunch of photographs from before, and that wasn't very helpful even when we were in the area.
The reports I am finding indicate a siege on the catacombs. MJ-12 must be trying to drive Silhouette from their hideout.
You know what? All of these cramped little corridors have got me thinking. Like, maybe I could use the sword here a little more often than I normally do, since I can creep up behind people more easily. Like so.
Something creeps me out about Hella. I don't know.
She's from High Command. They're all like that.
I think she really gets off being down here. Have you seen the little nest she set up in the room with the pillars? The command post?
She does seem to be in her element.
Curling up in her nest like a harpy.
Man, I'll be glad to get out of here.
Me too. I don't like tunnels. Always sounds like someone's sneaking up on you.
Well, guess what? I had to kill the guy on the right first because he's got a flamethrower. Always better to not deal with that. And if there's some arcing electricity somewhere beyond that corner of the room. But it's going to be a while before we actually locate such a place.
You're entering one of the larger tombs. Almost 6 million exhumed bodies were moved to the catacombs as a health measure during the 1700s.
Sure are a lot of bones. It's kind of morbid that they decided to sort of pack them in all neat and sorted like that. But then there is that one ossuary, cathedral, where all of the decorations are made out of people's bones. Like the bones of the monks that worked there. And that's pretty creepy too. But I guess that's just a case of, you know, when life gives you lemons, decorate a skull with them. Alright, so that's an important note. If you don't nail them in the head, the commandos can survive a shot with the dragon sword.
You're close close to the bunker where Silhouette has barricaded themselves. Our leader's name is Chad. Strange. The area looks different than it does on my map. Some new construction. Maybe they've concealed themselves from Majestic 12.
Indeed they have. Texture does not quite match up there. It's very interesting. And you can see that we just passed through that building. We're out in that corner. Turning left, we've got that giant door in the way. But on the right is Bunker 1, where Silhouette is. Luckily, there's not one but two bricks you can push to open the door.
Make sure they don't follow you. How did you find us? We are surrounded. We don't have much time. They are holding our comrades prisoner. We are not prepared to fight a war. We must assume the worst. They are holding our comrades prisoner.
You found the bunker. We can't let them discover our hideout. They have backed us into a corner. The soldiers have occupied the entire city and now the tunnels too. There's nothing we can do against augmented commandos. They have backed us into a corner.
You know something funny? I'm pretty sure that you don't actually have to help Silhouette here. Like, there's no actual requirement. Hang on. Chad wants to have a chat with me.
We are not prepared to fight a war.
I'm J.C. Denton. You might know my brother Paul. I helped him send your group a warning about the crackdown.
Denton. Yes, the satellite transmission saved us from La Prison de Fresnes at least.
Pretty much a skeleton crew you have here. How long can your people hold off MJ-12?
We're not mercenaries. When the troopers moved into the crypts, half of my people retreated without firing a shot. 2 of them took a wrong turn and were taken prisoner.
Where?
In Bunker 3, the tunnels behind the second blast door.
Maybe I can help you out, in exchange for a small favor. I need to find Nicolette Duclair.
Nicolette? What do you want with Nicolette?
I need to contact some friends of her mother's.
Oh yes, Beth, a great woman. Nicolette is very secretive about her mother's friends. She tells us that they are wealthy and support our cause, but they have many enemies and need to be protected. I might be able to help you, but I must be certain of your loyalty.
You have a right to be cautious. Just point me to Bunker 3.
I have the key to the blast door, which is directly across from our hideout, and a map you might find useful. Get my people back and I will put you in touch with Nicolette. It's unfortunate I cannot send someone with you. My people simply are not the best soldiers. We train teams to wire buildings with C4. They go in at night to avoid confrontation. In a straight fight against commandos, they just don't have the equipment or expertise. I can't bear to imagine what methods of interrogation Majestic 12 will use on my people. Silhouette is not a military group. Our attacks are symbolic, intended to influence the public. We publicize certain things like the Statue of Liberty bombing. It's just so fitting that the American government will destroy the gift of freedom we gave your country almost 200 years ago and then try to blame it on us. The rhetoric in Washington has done more to defeat liberty than all of the armies and police forces in the world. When government surveillance and intimidation is called freedom for terrorism or liberation for crime, freedom and liberty have become words without meanings. I know Majestic 12. When they have learned what they can, they will execute every last one of the prisoners. This war all around us is being thought over the very meanings of words. Just as Batkin described the novel as a competition between various languages, so we describe culture itself, which thrives upon convulsions and upheaval. Culture, by definition a shared territory of meaning, inspires conflicts far more destructive than any dispute over territory on the Earth's surface. Meaning does not exist a priori. It is order imposed by individuals with arsenals of communication devices. Every inscription, Every utterance, every gesture seeks to dominate the plane of meaning. Real violence is only an extension of this process. In order to get our own message before the public, we too have been violent. We have even killed people. But it is the message, the communication event, that we target, not a few human beings or building or an historical landmark. If you expect to help my people, you should get moving. This war all around us is being thought over the very meanings of words.
That guy's got a lot to say. I can only open this with a pick, but I might as well. But as I was saying before, you don't actually have to help Silhouette. You can get the blast door key from here. Read up a little on Richard III. And, in fact, I don't think Chad is even invulnerable. Hang on, let me just check. Yeah, Chad isn't even invulnerable. I could just murder all of Silhouette at this point, and it would be fine. I would be able to continue the game
We can't let them discover
We
our
are
hideout.
surrounded. We
without
don't
them.
have much time.
I mean, let alone the 2 hostages that they're talking about.
Looks like a chance to take out a team of MJ-12 troopers, but use your head. We don't want the hostages getting caught in the crossfire.
Still, I might as well be a nice guy. There's skill points in it for me if I manage to get them out successfully. Does anybody else just want to randomly walk next to me and turn their backs so I can hit them with this? Well, while I'm waiting for anyone else to appear, I might as well explode that box with the kindly placed TNT crate. Oh, missed. There we go. More throwing knives. And a security password. Now let's do something about the rest of the people in the... That was a little different, but okay.
Another World War II bunker. No sign of MJ-12. Maybe it's vacant.
Well, mostly vacant. Hey, Zyme. Something tells me I should hang on to these vials.
Get out. I was here first.
Sorry, just looking around. Aren't you afraid of the commandos?
They better not come back here. I am not moving again.
Right. You tell them that.
At least I get away with something. Want a medkit? I stole 3. Or what about those poison darts? 600 for a medkit, 200 for the darts. They moved me out to make room for military supplies.
Well, I don't use medkits anymore, and I've got plenty of tranq darts, so...
Maybe later.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Oh, another Zyme vial. How fortunate. Nothing else in here aside from a few consumables.
Okay, so you want...
Maybe later.
And that guy doesn't have anything extra to say, so let's just get out of here. Alright, so we've got a few winding corridors here.
The old catacombs exit is at the end of this passage, but it's been closed off for years due to cave-ins.
Yep, and surely enough, they've got this grate in the way, and there's no way past that. Looks like there kind of might be a way up there, but crawl through the top. But no, it doesn't work. I've tried.
Jock's picking up heat found signatures of what look like troops. The MJ-12 bunker must be nearby. This passage goes to the sewers. If you don't mind the sludge, you'll be able to get around the city without a metro pass.
Well, assuming I find the key to the door, that is. Now, there's 3 ways to go from here, but only one of them actually leads to MJ-12 troopers. This is another way, and we've got another locked box here. But we're a little too close to the troopers. I figure an explosion might excite them. Plus, we'll be finding a few lockpicks soon enough. It's hardly worth it for the darts, but I did want to know what was inside, so I have. Also kind of nice, you've got this little gallery area up here, which gets you some 10mm ammo and a second chance to get that security login. Damn it. And hey, 2 lockpicks. Go figure, right? Now, like I said, this is the 3rd and final way to travel, which leads to the MJ-12 troopers, but there's...
Watch yourself. Good.
Well, unfortunate he was looking right at me when I came down. Yeah, aside from that one guy, this too is a dead end with just goodies on the other side of it. So we've got this locked door here, and we've got these electrical arcs here. And then we've also got super speed, which allows us to walk on the top of this, I don't know what you would call it. But it does let us get past the door here and open it without expending any resources. And oddly enough, it causes this repair bot here to move out, go over to the high voltage box transformer, I assume, and fix it. That allows me to get back here and get at these goodies, although I don't actually need any of them. Still, I figure I can put one of the TNT crates to good use. Gotta be careful. Of course, TNT crates are very, sensitive. But I believe I will be able to make use of this. Now, these lasers up here, they can be a problem. I could use the TNT crate to explode them, but why bother? Thanks to this break in the facade,
MJ-12 squads have set up a base camp in this old World War II bunker. This is probably where you'll find the hostages.
I can sneak past it completely. Also sounds like there are guys out here.
Something's in.
I don't like where that guy was headed. Sure enough. You do not get to set off the alarm either. Crazy. You neither. Oh, for crying out loud. There just had to be another guy, didn't there? And sure enough, it set off the turret. Blessed MJ-12 troopers. Wow. Anyway, the reason I brought the TNT crate was not for the lasers, but for the box. Just another cheap way of opening a box. And I do not want to be in the line of fire, and actually I would like to check out this underwater passage. So firing from here seems like the best bet. Assuming I can aim over the lip here. There we go, okay. See, I wanted to be on my way because of that gas. So I'll be going back for that later. In any case, the underwater passage leads to the back area. The other end.
Hella speaking. We might have something.
Uh-oh. That's that woman they were warning me about. There you are. I was wondering where you went. I'm kind of wondering where Hella is.
That wasn't a rat.
Still investigating, I suppose. Well, here's the thing about the M and WIBs. Is that they usually have some really nice goodies on them. Because, after all, they tend to explode when they die. So being able to not... Okay, who pressed the alarm this time? Son of a bitch. Right, as I was saying, Hella here has a weapon mod on her, as do a lot of the W and M IBs. I just wanted to show that off, because, you know, the first one I got had the assault shotgun, but that wasn't particularly valuable since I found one in the next map anyhow. Now here's that security terminal. I could use the password Hella Ragnarok, but screw it. You know, these guys always have biocells on them. I just wanted to make use of that fact. Where did they get all of the barrels to start all of these barrel fires? And why is that apparently their preferred method of illumination? And I can understand when it's, you know, a bunch of homeless guys or terrorists. But you would think that the MJ-12 troopers would bring in, you know, actual lights powered by an actual generator, for instance. Wow. Anyhow, this is where they are keeping the prisoners. Nothing else in here but a 40.
We have to get moving.
Keep a lookout. Let's go.
So one reason I kept the lasers active is so that you can watch this.
Watch out for the commandos.
It's actually pretty interesting. Yep, they do not trip the lasers, even though they obviously block them. And those aren't the magic kind of lasers that you can block with, you know, barrels and such. I tried that in a previous playthrough, and it set those lasers off. Simple as you please. No, nuts. The darts are gone, but oh, wait. Can't believe I almost forgot to grab these explosives. Makes me glad I doubled back looking for those darts. Everything could use a reload mod, although I believe the sniper rifle is now tapped out once you hit 50%. And on the plus side, that means 1 second reload speed. Now let's get back to the Silhouette bunker and tell them all the good news. Let's go back this way. Okay, here we are.
They are holding our comrades prisoner.
Well, not anymore.
They have backed us into a corner.
I guess it doesn't trigger until they're actually walking.
Thank you, sir. I owe you my life.
We made it.
They were going to execute us.
I can't find the words. All I can say is thank you.
I will get revenge.
Now it is time to regroup.
Thank you, sir. I owe you my life.
Thank you for saving our comrades.
They're back. You did it! You did it! Merci, merci. Thank you, sir. I thought they were going to kill her.
So I forgot to talk to Pierre earlier, but he is the son of the woman who was captured.
Now we have a chance.
I freed the hostages.
Wonderful. Where are they?
Both of them made it to the hideout safely. I made sure of it.
Excellent. I cannot believe our good fortune. Now, you wanted to contact Nicolette?
Yes.
You might catch her at Club La Porte de l'Enfer. I tried to tell her it's not safe, but ever since her mother's assassination, she has been careless. She goes out every night as though daring the assassins to show their faces.
A silhouette hangout?
Among other things. But you can't get there at night, the roads are blocked.
What about the tunnels?
The catacombs do not go that far. You might try the sewers, though. They can be reached through the rear blast door.
Is it locked?
Unfortunately, MJ-12 closed it before the raid. Maybe you can find a key on one of the soldiers.
I already picked up that key. Thanks again for the help.
Wow, 500 skill points.
Nicolette has been somewhat mysterious about her reasons for supporting us. I do not pretend to understand her. Through her mother's estate, she has provided Silhouette with immense amounts of funding. I'm reluctant to believe her patronage is entirely benign. What inclines me to trust Nicolette, however, is that her mother's death 6 months ago, we're fairly certain was the work of Majestic 12. My impression is that Nicolette supports us against Majestic 12, but that she will have her own agenda when the fighting is over. I wish Nicolette would be more sensible. She should find a place to hide and stay there. Beth Duclair was the only one of our wealthy supporters whom we referred to by name, and she was the one who got killed. We have learned to keep our mouths shut. The rhetoric in Washington has done more to defeat liberty than all of the armies and police forces.
You're a brave man.
Well, 500 skill points? Let me just close this for them. 500 skill points is well worth the fact that all of that was just an optional objective. But we've got a bit of a walk ahead of ourselves. And that's wrong way. To get back to that rear blast door, what you saw was infinite. We have the key now, courtesy of the MJ-12 troopers. And so now we can proceed into the sewer tunnels. All the news has been about the raid into the catacombs here.
I think these tunnels connect to the sewers. You're going the right way.
You don't say. Wonder if the rat will drown. In any case, this is not a very deep pool here. Doesn't lead anywhere. Just the one lockpick makes it interesting. And in the same vein, that's a dead end too. Luckily there's only one way to go, so it's not too hard to find your way to the hole, which will lead into the sewers.
These sewers can take you anywhere in the Champs-Élysées where you will find the club. I just got an unexpected message from Jaime Reyes. He's at a cafe and wants to see you. He says it's urgent. The cafe address is number 19.
Wonder how Tracer Tong got a hold of that message. Oh well. Questions for next time. So, those were World War II bunkers, huh? Well, I guess that means that today we'll be heading to Conspiracy Corner to talk about the Second World War, Nazism, and the occult. The facts. As far as World War II goes, I doubt there's anything I need to say, especially about the European fronts. In the 1930s, Germany went insane. and put a madman in charge. For around 15 years, they inflicted their insanity on millions of innocent men, women, and children. The reasons are straightforward enough. Loss in a major war which destroyed the countryside and cities alike, an economic depression thanks to punitive war reparations, a weak government with little legitimacy. Hell, even before the fascists took over, Germany was secretly rebuilding its armed forces. And as for the Aryan nonsense, well, racism had been a fact in Europe for centuries, and anti-Semitism for even longer. Still, there was more to it than that, an occultism, a new mythology presented by the fascists to justify their actions. So where exactly did that come from? Enter the Thule Society. Oh, but first let me explain the name. See, across the world there are a whole bunch of mythological civilizations supposedly lost to time. There's Atlantis, of course, which was actually Plato creating a hypothetical society to prove a point. There's the mystic Isle of Avalon, which is actually just an archaic name for the Isle of Britain. And Shambhala, which might have been a real kingdom in the Himalayas at one point, but all we've got now is utopian fantasies passed down from Hindu Buddhist writings, so any real facts are all lost to history. Thule is another of these mystical places. Supposedly, the Greek explorer Pytheas discovered it on a trip north in the 4th century BCE. He called it an island, but our best guess today is that he meant Norway or Sweden, and didn't realize he was on a peninsula. Assuming he even got that far himself, of course. Then again, he might have meant Britain, or just Scotland, or Iceland, or Greenland. As European maps grew in quality, Thule was pushed further and further north, since nobody knows exactly where Pytheas went. Anyway, in the early 1910s, before World War I began, some Germans got together and formed the Germanic Order, a secret society based on the ideas of occultism, German nationalism, and Nordic racism. Like any decent secret society, it was also based on the successful Freemason design, but that should go without saying by this point. When the Order opened a branch in Munich, which just so happens to be the capital of our old friend Bavaria, it took on a code name, the Thule Reading Society. Reading societies are pretty much just fancy book clubs. They circulate some literature, then hold meetings to discuss it. But like I mentioned, the Thule Society had an ulterior motive, namely extreme racism and right-wing nationalism. It also used a swastika as its emblem. Society members would go on to reach out to right-wing workers' organizations and eventually help form the Nazi Party in 1920. However, this being accomplished, it was not long before Adolf Hitler joined and rose to prominence. Hitler wasn't too keen on the whole occult angle, and so he severed ties between the society and the Nazi Party, leading to the former's dissolution by the mid-1920s. But that would not be the end of occultism in Nazi Germany. The conspiracy theorist. Heinrich Himmler was very likely not a member of the Thule Society. If nothing else, he joined the Nazi Party in 1923, by which point the society was in serious decline. However, he was definitely a fan of the occult and the Aryan mythology, and under his leadership, the SS would not only do terrible things to Jews, but they would also embark on archaeological expeditions much like the ones Indiana Jones would later add to Hollywood's mythology. Still, I'm pretty sure Himmler was under no illusions regarding the idea of finding some mystical ancient superweapon. Instead, the expeditions were aimed at using pseudoscience and historical revisionism to construct the Aryan myth. He was particularly taken with a work called the Linda Book, which describes a matriarchal Nordic society which ruled over Europe for most of its history. Of course, the book was a proven hoax within a decade of its supposed discovery in 1867, but that never stops a good conspiracy theorist, now does it? In 1935, Himmler created the Ahnenerbe Foundation, whose goal was essentially to justify Nazi racism. The first few expeditions were fairly simple and sensical. Trips to Finland and Sweden to record pre-Christian rites and traditions. Then they went to Italy and found Nordic runes, proving that Rome was founded by Aryans. And they traveled to the Middle East to look for evidence that the Roman Empire fell due to a conflict between Aryans and Semites. And to top that, an expedition went to Tibet to verify claims that Aryans conquered most of Eurasia in 2000 BCE and discover whether Gautama Buddha, the Buddha, was in fact a descendant of the Aryan race. There is actually some historical truth to that. Migrations of Indo-Europeans took place around 2000 BCE, although they hardly built an empire. And for a time, the subcontinental population was separated between Aryan North Indians and darker-skinned South Indians. Still, the caste system only came about around 2,000 years after the initial migration, and the two groups had thoroughly mixed by then. Gautama was born around 500 BCE in present-day Nepal, so he very likely has some Aryan ancestry, along with other populations, but then that hardly matters since the Ahnenerbe weren't looking for the actual truth in any event. World War II put an end to expeditions after 1939, and so the Ahnenerbe turned to more horrible tasks. For instance, the organization participated in the looting of Polish and Soviet museums. It helped plan German settlements in Poland and Ukraine, which would have pushed out or starved out the Slavs who already lived there, and they even participated in the horrific fucking experiments taking place in the Dachau concentration camp. Lovely. Speaking more broadly, there are also more theories about the Nazi leaders than simply arguing about who belonged to which society and how deeply any specific person believed in magic and the occult. For instance, Hitler was originally a spy sent by the German government to investigate the forerunner of the Nazi Party. He obviously changed his mind pretty quickly, but it leaves a window for people to claim that he was somehow a plant the whole time, even when he had absolute control over the entire country. There's also this idea that his almost inhuman skill with speechcraft was literally inhuman, and he was enchanted or possessed by dark forces. Personal thoughts. Racism is bullshit. I really hope I don't have to point this out for you. But here's the funny thing. Remember how I said earlier that humans were trapped on a barren coastline throughout an entire ice age? Well, as a result, humans are more inbred than most other species. There is very little genetic distinction between any two humans, and that's even despite how we probably interbred with pre-existing subspecies like the Neanderthal. Possibly. But the fact is that no two humans are more than 50th cousins from each other, and any differences that we call racial are either cosmetic or help protect against some localized condition or disease. The fact is that racism is simply an extension of xenophobia, the fear of the stranger, the fear of the other. Instead of fearing and despising your neighbors, you fear and despise entire swaths of people grouped by one or two common traits. But here's the interesting part. In the process, you identify yourself with entire swaths of people grouped by one or two traits that you possess. Your sense of self and other both balloon outwards. It's not so surprising then that xenophobia really transformed into racism as nation-states and national identities developed. And even today, racism and nationalism go hand in hand more often than not. Now that the world is globalizing, racism is starting to fade. Slowly. Very slowly. But we're making progress. For instance, here in the United States, it is now illegal to own other people and to prevent people from voting or working based on skin color. Also, if you say something blatantly racist, you will generally be greeted by booing and shame rather than applause. You can still imply certain racist ideas, but considering that comedians no longer draw giant crowds by dressing in blackface and acting stupid, we are at least making progress. Still, racism is not dead. It is far from dead, and I doubt it will ever truly be dead, and let no one tell you otherwise. And even if it does die, we'll always have other reasons to hate each other, both shallow and reasonable. Humans can only understand the world by sorting things into categories, and two such categories will always be the self and the other. Thank you for joining me again in Conspiracy Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.